Welcome guys, this is the Friday video, and every Friday I'm going to be doing a macro and liquidity framework video. So in these videos we're going to be assessing the broader macro liquidity environment, specifically the dollar strength, yields, global liquidities and precious metals to understand whether the conditions support crypto or they are restrictive to crypto. So first we're going to get straight into the dollar. When the dollar is high, it's bad for risk assets. I've marked the upper resistance for the dollar, which is 114, and the lower, which is 87. Currently, we're at 97. This is slightly low, which is slightly good, but Bitcoin and crypto risk assets aren't doing very good. But that's only one factor, because when we look at things like the Nasdaq, you can see we're basically at all-time highs. If we're putting it into the weekly, it's literally at all-time highs, which is showing that when we have that weaker dollar, we are doing well. If we go back to the dollar, we can see on the weekly time frame that support and resistance that I mapped out is actually perfect. We can see since November 2014, we've been on this kind of sideways chop movement, hitting between the top and the bottom. We didn't really go above the top since like the early 2000s, 2001, 2002. This is when we have the kind of extreme fear. When we kind of slip below it, it's good. You can also see that in when we had our mini alt season in 2024, which is what I've been repeating over the past few videos. We only had a small correction down about 5 points just for it to happen. So we don't necessarily need a massive weak dollar to have great things in crypto assets. Sorry, I'll turn the notifications off. Next, we're going to be going to yield. So everyone watches CPI, everyone watches the Fed, but the bond market tells you what's coming before the headlines do. The best ones to use are the 10 yield and the 2-year yield. They tell two different things. So right now we're going to get into the 10 yield. So basically it represents long-term confidence in growth inflation. As you can see, I've marked the upper band at about 5% and the lower at 3.2. Basically, when we had our mini alt season again, we only went down about 23%. So the 10 yield represents like mortgage rates, government debt stress, equity valuations when they get squeezed. This is what happens when you have the kind of the higher level up at the 5%. If we go to the weekly, you can see we haven't had that kind of level of stress above that 5% until like since 2007 and behind that. When the yields absolutely crash, everything becomes cheaper. Debt becomes cheaper. Same when the dollar's down, debt also becomes cheaper. People can pay off their debts easier. This was kind of like a bottom thing we had. This is when our alt season had when yield rates were really low. Next we go to the 2 yield. So what we have for the 2 yield is that it's short term, it's based on Fed policy, so it tells you what the market thinks the Fed will do before they do it. So if there's rumors going around, this will react off that. Again, we want this to be low. We had our alt season here, then as you can see the 2-year short term yield went really low. Again, if we go up, move on to the weekly chart, this absolutely flew down 0.1%. It's crazy. We haven't had like right now we're at really kind of like all-time high area. We haven't had this since again really early 2000s. This can kind of show you why extreme risk assets like crypto aren't doing that great. But obviously we had the Nasdaq that is doing well, so it kind of varies between assets. Obviously crypto is more volatile. When metrics like this go off, swing high and low, it is more prone to volatile behavior. Next, we're going to go into Bitcoin, and this here we have the M2 Liquidity Global Index. So this is always going to rise no matter what. As you can see over the years, it's just been going up and up and up and up. And people say it follows Bitcoin. It has been following Bitcoin because Bitcoin's also been going up and up and up in the greater range if you look at the weekly. But currently right now, people are saying it's deep-paired. It's not that it's deep-paired, it's that crypto cycles have a lot of more volatile bottoms when they sell off. So this is currently a selling off and a bottom. As you can see by the video I did on Monday, it's the structural kind of backdrop, and we can see we're holding structure at the 2024 like liquidity levels, which shows this isn't that it's deep head, it's just a small pullback, and it looks worse in the macro chart. But technically we will follow the M2 liquidity supply eventually when we start pulling out of this range and taking over other all-time highs. When we get into precious metals, gold and silver, all-time highs. Congratulations to people who have invested in that. If you bought back in early 2023, late 2022, this is an absolute insane gain that you've made. Same for silver, I believe. Let's take a look. If you sold at the top, that's a 500% gain. So congratulations to the people who are patient trading precious metals. So just getting back to the 2 yield, obviously we know cryptos are going to struggle when we're high. That's including the 10 yield. So yields want to be low. Dollar at the start, we also want to be low. So these are just some indicators you can check out to support your thesis. Know when you've got a bottom in structure, a top in structure, when to buy, when to sell. So as a summary, for really risk assets like crypto, current market conditions are not the best. However, this is the perfect time to be buying. When it comes to other risk assets like stocks, we're doing very well. We're at tops, so this would ideally be the time to maybe take some profits as we are at all-time highs. Precious metals are doing really well because of the uncertainty that's gone on. People have been putting their money into it, and as you can see, it has been working. We are topping out. Taking a bit of profit never hurt anybody. Going forward, we will be checking over these indicators. If anyone has any videos, any recommendations for videos that they'd like me to cover, please do drop a comment. Any indicators they'd like me to check out, I will. Patreon links in the description. Thank you very much. Have a great day.